Here we are diving into mood management strategies. When your kid is pushing back and you're in the middle of a power struggle, are you doing what most parents do at times and losing your cool, finding yourself getting frustrated and unable to manage the moment in the way that you wish you could? Maybe you're finding yourself yelling, threatening punishments, giving in, or shutting down yourself, wishing you could leave and not be there, dealing with that throw down over nap time, that refusing to eat, finish the food on their plate, or all the many different ways that kids are showing their big emotions, especially in these trying times. So what I want to invite you into today for Mindset Monday is to really think about that old knowledge that we have, that saying about putting your oxygen mask on first. But I want to take a fresh look at it today, okay? Because what we've learned in the science of stress is that some stress can be a good thing. And not knowing what to do when we experience stress is where unhealthy habits start. And many of us are seeking ways of managing our stress that we're not proud of, that we wish we didn't have to do, or we're not managing our stress well, and it's coming out in these ways that I was describing, right? So today we're going to dive into the science of stress and just take a few moments to, really encounter stress in a new way. This is a part of a series. So this is more of like the introduction to a series. I have a 6-day training starting today at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard, and it's running in my Facebook group for parents. Now, if you're not already in the Facebook group, I invite you to click on the button Visit Group on the Raising Our Resilience page and join us. We're a community of parents who want to raise our resilience while we raise our children's resilience so that the whole family unit can have more success when encountering stressful situations and challenging times like these. So we're starting the 6-day training. I really want you to be aware of that, because we're going to take one step in this introduction today and Mindset Monday, but we can go so much further if we spend the week together, just dropping in for 20 minutes a day and learning practice after practice that will help us to have coping skills in the moment. And I specifically hand selected the ones that work the best with children, that not only for us to be able to manage our stress, but tools that we can give to them and model for them. So what is the deal with stress? So the science of stress would say that what it does is when we have a stress response in the body, it initiates a sequence of events that helps us be more prepared to take action. Things like bringing more blood into our extremities by increasing our heart rate, narrowing our capillaries, and releasing cortisol into our bloodstreams. This is a really wise thing to do, because with that adrenaline and that cortisol and that ready to go, response, we're able to do things like run away from a tiger, or even in more recent times, maybe tear gas, right? Folks who are out there protesting. We have a way to get our body into high alert and move our bodies and our to safety, or hide or freeze, to make sure that we are able to assess the situation. Now, the thing, and we, a little bit of that can go a long way, can help. And so one of the first things, then this is coming straight out of Columbia University from Professor Akinola. She's a very wise African-American professor, researcher, stress expert. And she tells us that, a little bit of stress can be helpful. And so the first thing I invite you to do is to reframe the way that you think about stress. Because when we resist it, it persists. So if we're like, if we get stressed out about stress, we've added more stress, right? So what I invite you to do, and what Professor Akinola invites folks to do, is to recall a time when you were stressed and it gave you a boost or a leg up. It actually helped you to motivate and put more focus on something, right? It helped you to have that burst of energy to maybe like in a performance situation to really shine on stage or really, you know, come out of the gate hard in a race, right? Maybe it helps you to push through something that was really challenging. You just, you know, like that little boost of that adrenaline and sugar helped you, right? So I want you to actually in the comments right now, think of a time where stress was actually useful to you and put it in the comments, okay? So if you're here with me on the Facebook group, you would be putting it right into the group chat. If you're with me on the business page, you might want to consider heading over to the group so that you can have the conversation with other parents there, okay, with other folks there. The group. And I'm opening this up right now. Just take a second, yep, so that I can see your comments. Now, when you think of this time that stress actually gave you that boost, that kind of that edge, what it does is in the moment that you're having another moment of stress, you get to sort of normalize that like, okay, this happens. And sometimes it can actually be a good thing. How could I harness the stress experience to actually help me to perform better or to have a little bit of extra energy in that moment? Hi, I think it's Rusian. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. So the usefulness of stress, reframing it. And the other thing that Professor Akinola encourages us to do, and I really like this one, is to use stress as a way of almost like a little flag popping up and waving around would be my analogy. And the way that she describes it is, you know, beneath the stress is something that you really care about, right? So if something is stressing you out, it must be something that matters. Otherwise, it wouldn't bother you, right? And so is there a possibility that the reason you're stressed out about this thing is because you care so deeply about it? And when we do that, it's another reframe. So we've reframed twice. What is the usefulness of stress and how could it even give you a leg up? The fact that your body's responding with this stress response. And the second thing would be, what is it that's so meaningful about this that you care so much about that would bring the stress to mind? Oftentimes that helps us to focus less on the experience of stress and the problems that are being solved and the reason why we're even putting our good energy and time and effort into solving that problem. So taking this to parenting, when you are stressed in the moment with a child, let's play out a scenario. Let's say you're having that throwdown over it's time to go to bed or it's time to get, you know, settle down for a nap. And you're in a power struggle with your child. Now, I have a lot of other suggestions about how to handle this, but let's just go straight to the stress piece, the reframing. So you're having a moment of frustration and you're starting to feel some stress and you've already had a long day and now you're like, oh, you're feeling it, right? So one thing you could say is, well, I remember last time I was stressed in this moment, it helped me, it made me actually realize that that I'm having an experience in my body and it helped me pay attention to my senses. One of the 6 strategies that I'll be training parents on this week, which I really highly recommend you join me for. It's a free training. So it helps me notice that my body, that I'm holding tension in my body that I've been carrying around all day. I didn't even realize it was there. Now that I have I'm noticing that I can actually release that and let this little boost of adrenaline and sugar move through me and give me more energy instead of making it feel like there's more tension and more exhaustion on the way. Okay, so that's one reframe. And then you can even recall a time that you did something wise like that. You're like, you know, when I'm stressed out at work, I write better emails. I just get more of them out because I'm under a deadline and it puts the pressure on and I perform better. It's just true. Like it actually works for me. So maybe that'll work for me right now. Like, let me really dig deep and find a way to find some more patience for my child right now. First reframe. Second reframe. What do you care about so much? Well, I really, really care about my child getting enough rest and forming healthy habits about how to manage their metabolism. I really care about my child having time to rest, and because I know that their body really grows a lot and their learning kind of consolidates when they have better rest. I really care about this because once they go to sleep, then I get to do my own self-care, or I get to catch up with work, or I get, the thing that you want to get done. This really matters to me. And that's why I'm stressed out. Just having that conversation with yourself and kind of refocusing on what you really care about can help you to let go of, for example, getting really like bogged down in the details of that your child will not put their head down on their pillow and be quiet, right? And that's the thing, like, am I really fighting with a 4-year-old over whether their eyes are open or closed? I've had that moment, trust me, so many times working a nap room of 20 children, okay? I know what it's like, right? You get stuck in the minutia, and then when you back up and say, you know what? It really doesn't matter how this happens, as long as I do fall asleep. Then you start to open up to the possibility of trying another strategy, right? Like, oh yeah, that's right. When I play music, it really helps. Or, oh, if I don't keep harping on them about closing their eyes, they eventually will. And all this other resources available when you reframe the stress of the moment. Why do you care so much about it to be stressed? And how could the stress actually be a useful thing? 2 reframes from Professor Akinola. Now, the other part of it, though, is that, we do need to sometimes move the stressful experience so that we're not stuck in it, so that we don't get bogged down. And one of the most powerful ways we can do that is using our soma, using our body. Our bodies are actually hardwired to experience stress, but also to release it or move through stress. And so it's really important that we consider tooling up, building our skills, like adding more to our toolboxes if we are experiencing daily stress with children. And here's why. Children learn more from what we do than what we say. So we can tell a child to calm down. We can tell a child to be quieter. We can tell a child to take 3 deep breaths. But if we're not modeling that that's how we deal with adversity, for example, when we, get that phone call we wish we didn't have to take, and we go, oh, and have a mini tantrum. Well, guess what? They're learning that there's not really a good way to cope with this except to have a little meltdown, right? So what we need to lean into is the truth of the matter that stress management for children, mood management for children, it actually starts with us. It starts with us. And the more tools that we can embody and bring into our daily lives with children, the more they're going to learn from us. In my personal experience, working with children for 15 years, working with families for almost 20 years now, 2 decades of time, in my research, in my hundreds and thousands of conversations with parents and educators, is that children will always learn more from what you show than what you tell. You can tell a child 100 times, but if you show them really well, 3 to 10 times, not only will they learn it, but they will absorb it in a way that just a verbal command or a verbal request will never get across to them. So I really invite you to step over this threshold of, I wonder what strategies I could use. I wonder how I could support my children. I want you to step over that threshold and really consider tooling up with me, okay? So I'm going to give a brief overview of what the 6 tools are, but just know that there's more. You can come to the 6-day training, and the link to register is in the post of this video, okay? Starting today at 2 p.m. with watch parties and the replays up all this week and next week, even contests to kind of motivate you. Okay, so what I have for you is our 6 strategies. Okay, the first one is using the breathing tool, and I like to say, breathe, little lion, breathe. Okay, and it's how to hack your nervous system with your breath to actually reverse the adrenaline spike and the effects of cortisol on the body, to expand your blood vessels instead of them contracting under that stress response, to slow your heartbeat, to help you find that calmer voice and that calmer mindset to get your thinking back online. It's a huge, important tool, and not every person likes every breathing tool, so we'll go over several in the training. Okay. So using your breath, breathe, little lion, breathe, okay? The next one, which is equally powerful, but not always as intuitive, is using your body's natural ability to release tension with a somatic tool. Somatic tool, I mean, the breath is a somatic tool, but I mean whole body tool, where you build up the tension and release it in a way, and you train your muscle memory that when you have tension, there's a way that you can build it and release it in a really quick and easy way. So that's tool number 2. Tool number 3 is another one that I just really love. It helps you to take your mind and move it so that you can actually redirect your attention, redirect your focus from a thought loop, a place where you're stuck, into new thoughts and ideas, into a more open perspective. And sometimes your brain needs a transition to do that. So you might redirect your attention on something that's unrelated to give yourself that brain break and then come back to the problem. Okay, so redirecting your attention is tool number 3. Another tool I have for you is how to coach yourself through your own emotions, to become your own emotion coach through positive self-talk, but more importantly, by naming and validating your emotion and moving through it, allowing yourself to feel and release it, and even find the usefulness in that emotion. Okay, it's a really beautiful reframing tool that you can coach yourself with. Okay. How are we doing? Is there a tool that stands out to you yet? Let me know in the comments. We've got Rusan here, Sharon here. Hi, Sharon. And some folks over here on the Facebook group. Let me know in the comments, even if you're watching, we've got MF here. Even if you're watching as a replay, just let me know if one of these tools stands out for you. And go ahead and register for a 6-day training, okay? And so another tool we have, which is one of my favorites, and it's a go-to when I really feel stuck, is to lighten up. Oftentimes we're taking things much more seriously than they really are. And that's where I ask myself this question. This was actually a piece that I shared with folks on my mailing list this week. Is the title was, am I really arguing with a 4-year-old? And it's just sort of like, can I do something right now to lighten this up? Can I be silly? Can I over dramatize my feeling? Can I over dramatize their feeling? Can I make a joke? Can I actually do something physically funny? Can I pretend to fall down? I mean, there's so many. Can I sing a silly song? There's so many ways to lighten up, and we'll talk more about that in our training. Okay. And my last one, my tool number 6, is a really deep, lasting tool that folks have heard about, and it's a form of meditation, but it's in the moment meditation. And in the moment meditation is kind of taking that breathing tool and taking it even to a more expansive place where you learn the power of the pause. I have a client, a dear friend and client who she's a smart woman. She's a lawyer. She's a mother of 2 beautiful children, coping with all kinds of things: the stress of being a lawyer, stress of being a parent, stress of raising mixed race children, stress of being a Black woman in America, like just so many things that she's confronting every day. And what she was finding, the habit that she was in with her children, is that there would be this pattern of power struggle every morning, where she would remind, they would ignore, or kind of push back. And then finally somebody would escalate and there would be a big blow up and there'd be yelling every morning, pretty much like 4 out of 5 mornings, guaranteed yelling match. Unpleasant way to start the day. And when you already have so much stress in your life, the last thing you need is to feel like you're not setting your day up for success for your children or for yourself when you're walking out that door. And one of the things that she and I worked on and was really powerful for her was finding that pause in the moment that allows you to be able to have more agency, more choice over what happens next, more control, more mastery of your own emotions and do what your voice and your body is going to do next. So that instead of reacting to the difficulty, you can respond meaningfully in a way that helps to build a relationship, and so on and so forth. Okay, so finding that power of the pause, that's an advanced skill. That's why it's the last one on day 6, because we're going to practice today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we're going to really dig into that power of the pause piece. And I'm going to help you to see not only how these tools are useful, but get clarity about what might be in the way. Because you could listen to this, and if you found yourself shaking your head or furrowing your brow or raising your eyebrow or going, yeah, you don't know my kid though, I've tried these things. If that's you, then you need this training more than ever, because that's my specialty. My specialty is not the obvious. For example, I created a framework called the 7 Pillars of Raising Resilient Children. I don't have food and rest and shelter and clothing on that, because I want to give a benefit of the doubt that parents know that all parents are trying really hard to meet their kids' basic needs. They just do. Most parents do. Parents who end up in a parent talk like this or parent group, that's a given. That's the stuff that does kind of come more naturally, right? Like it's more intuitive. What I like to focus on are the areas of raising children that are less intuitive, that I have found that without training and guiding and mentorship and support and specific tools and strategies can fall apart. And those are the 7 pillars of raising resilient children. One of them The first one, the one that I focus on the most in my work, because it really is a precursor to all of the other pillars, is emotional mastery. And that's why I offer this 6-day free training. I just wrapped up a Navigating Meltdowns webinar too that you could still register for if you head over to the links in the post, in the banner of this business page or in the group, or if you, go ahead and sign up for it in the group itself. The reason why I start with emotional mastery when I'm helping folks is that if you can tackle emotional mastery and you can be really real and honest about the other pillars and where your gaps might be, you can absolutely, within 3, 6, 12 months, completely change family life with your children. I've seen it happen. I know it works. Robust routines that run really smoothly, setting limits that are really clear and having healthy boundaries, getting kids and all caregivers on the same page, same team as much as possible, developing really positive relationships and learning through conflict resolution. 5 of the pillars. The 2 others are emotional mastery and motivation mastery. How do I motivate my kids without having to resort to threats, punishments, or bribes and rewards? How do I help them become self-motivated? Right. So all of this encompasses what it takes for parents to raise resilient children. That is not necessarily something that just comes to you, right? We have the most important job and the biggest stakes and outcome and the least amount of training, us parents. True. So that's why I provide, and this is my specialty, my year-long program and all of the trainings that happen within my Facebook group, which is totally free for parents. So if you haven't joined my Facebook group yet, that's an easy place to start and hop into the 6-day training. It really is taking that next step to resource yourself to be resilient and resource your children to be resilient from your example and your direct instruction. So head on over and I'll see you over there. Go ahead and click on the link and register. Share with your friends, let them know if you have folks in your world who would love to raise resilient children. This is a great time to let them know about this resource because this free training is happening now this week and then replays all next week so busy parents can fit it into their schedules, okay? 20 minutes a day can make a big change. It's a great, big, bold first step. And so I appreciate your time and energy and attention, your big heartedness. If you listen to this, I know how much you love and care about your children. Otherwise, you wouldn't have hopped on with me today. And lots of love to you and to yours, and be well and be safe. See you on the other side.